Guys, we're going to cut straight to the chase here. Drake's defamation lawsuit against UMG has been officially dismissed by a federal judge. The case has been thrown out. It's over. So the question becomes now, how does this affect Drake's Iceman rollout and the album experience as a whole? Because as we saw with those Iceman live streams, it felt like a main narrative was going to be Drake fighting against the label, being UMG, and sort of exposing all of the nasty tricks that they use against artists such as himself. So how does this latest update kind of like change your perspective on this?
It's interesting because I thought about that right away, right? It's like going back to episode 3 of the whole Iceman run. There was a lot of symbolism. Especially in the Italy shoot, and it was like, okay, what is this going to lead up to next? And a lot of fans were speculating, especially on Twitter and in Reddit forums, like, okay, listen, he probably has something, right? And this is going to tie into the whole case. But now it's like, where do you really stand with that whole narrative? How do you make it ring off throughout the music? There has been some word from Drake's team that apparently they're going to appeal it. So maybe there's going to be more to this. Who knows at this point? But I don't know, dude. I'm not sure where they go from here because the rollout was so heavily invested on this topic. The entire narrative of this album was going to be centered around this. So it's like, where do you go from here? Like, how do you take a different route? Was this anticipated from Drake from the beginning? And it was like, okay, well, I might dive into it a bit, but it's still going to feel like maybe a regular Drake album. I just don't know at this point.
I don't think that this was anticipated just because I feel like he would have never had followed through and actually filed the lawsuit if he had known that it would be dismissed almost before it actually even began. So I think that he wouldn't do that just for the sake of like public reputation, because I do feel like, you know, people are gonna see this as something that's gonna follow him. They're gonna look at this as like, oh, he's now 0-2. He took another loss. That's gonna be sort of the narrative that is formed after this fact. That being said, my question just becomes like, do all of these Iceman streams now become irrelevant? Because that whole storyline, even looking at like them trying to erase his legacy, like we saw with the Pinocchio sitting around that table, with the ice sort of melting the legacy, with also like that package that the Pinocchios take from him, even him sitting with all of like the corporate guys in that opera house, that all alluded to him maybe trying to take down the system or start a revolution for artists to fight back against labels. So where does that leave Drake now if he seems like maybe he has no more cards left to play? And listen, he might make other moves going forward. Who knows? This is just the beginning of, you know, what could end up being a case that's reopened. Who the fuck knows? All that to say, I just feel like he's out of cards to play if he wants to make this a major theme for the Iceman album. I just don't know how this is gonna hold any weight. And I feel like more importantly, bro, if you're a Drake fan right now, you want him to move the fuck on, bro. Everything that he's done post beef, when it's come to addressing lyrics in like stupid IG story posts, when it's come to him throwing subs out a year later, him utilizing the whole Kendrick situation and how UMG's involved into these streams, people are sick of it, bro. And it's not leading to good music, apparently, in terms of what it seems like. So where does this lead us?
Well, there was an interesting theory on Twitter, or should I say it was a reaction from an OVO fan, and he was like, well, this could also mean another thing where it's like Drake has nothing holding him back at this point, right? Because there was also a theory where it's, well, he can't go too deep into it because he's going to trial and, like, you know, he's in court. Like, there's a whole thing going on. So now apparently there's a chance where it's like, well, he's out of this, so he could do whatever the fuck he wants in his music. I find that to be interesting because maybe that becomes a case where he's a lot looser in the way that he speaks about the situation and the music and the way that he follows through with it within the writing of maybe this new album. I will say this, though. It's like, if the album was somewhat centered around this entire event, what does it do for the album release date, right? Because imagine you had an entire album maybe cooked up around this, or there was certain records that were playing more and more and more into it. It's like, I can't see those now making an album. Like, to me, that wouldn't make sense, right? So what do you think it'll do in that sense? Do you think that it makes Drake realize, hey, I may have to change gear here, or do you think he's still gonna follow through with it and you see this maybe sometime soon?
I mean, listen, it's hard to say just because it's been revealed that a lot of those songs that were being played, according to Aiden Ross and some other people, I think maybe even academics, none of the songs really played from the live streams are gonna make the album. So really, besides the imagery and the storylines within the streams, we don't actually know what the music's gonna be centered around. So that's still a big question mark, but I just feel like he'll probably completely change direction at this point, bro. And I think that this could be a silver lining as a Drake fan myself. Like I would just finish saying, I don't want him to dwell on this any longer, bro. I think that fans are ready for him to start a new chapter, for him to, regain his confidence and really just move on from the whole situation, bro. Like we had a whole album after this. We've had different songs post beef where he's addressed everything. Is there really any need to continue down this path? I don't see any good coming out of it.
The only way that you would have been able to low-key continue is if this actually went through in court, and then after that you talk about what you went through over this past year and how everything got exposed in the music. But I don't know if that's going to happen now, especially with this piece of news. And it kind of makes me look at these Iceman episodes different. It's like, what type of run did we really go on in the summer with these Iceman episodes, right? I think the first one was super fire going through Toronto. I think that was still the best one till this day. But as you continued getting more and more episodes, there was more and more symbolism. So do you follow through with the storyline, or do you just kind of abandon it at this point? I don't think he's going to abandon it. I think that he started this rollout. He's going to finish it. But if I were him, if this is the reality of things and that was the card you wanted to play, it's time to change gears, like you said, right? It's going to be 2026 in 2 months. It's going to be 2 years in the month of April.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2 years in the month of April. A lot of time has passed. A lot of things have happened. Let's get back to making good fucking music. That's really all I care about in this situation.
Yep.
I want a good fucking Drake album. And you know what? I think he will deliver that one day. I think that we will get another solid Drake album.
One day or with this album? That's the question.
That's to be determined, because it depends which way he wants to go by. If you go by this whole UMG route and you kind of take that sort of route towards, okay, I'm gonna expose the industry. There's something wrong that happened to me, and I want to show it for all the artists, and I want to make sure this doesn't happen to another artist again.
But it becomes hearsay now, right? If this is no longer going to be able, if he can't prove this in a court of law, whatever allegations he makes, let's say against UMG,
okay, but this is another thing.
How does that get bought?
Yes, but I feel like, especially with the Young Thug situation, it was kind of already starting to get clipped down a bit, because then it started to be understood that, like, everyone fucking uses these, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's a part of DSPs, and the Spotify's actively trying to crack down on it as we fucking speak. This is public information, right? There's a problem with the DSPs. There's a huge problem with just fake traffic that's coming in, but honestly, every single social media platform and DSP is dealing with this exact same problem.
With
so
these bots, yeah.
It's nothing that you would have not known from the get-go. Like, this is a thing. As soon as you have that type of automation or there's that type of traffic coming in, there's going to be an influx of traffic, and it's probably not even from the label. It's probably from exterior sources, bro. Like, there's so much shit that goes on into this, and it's like, if you guys really want to get a full scope of what's going on with it, don't even, like, go into this Drake album expecting to get the full gist of it. Like, go do your reading and go understand what's driving these platforms to have to start putting security measures in for their fucking bots, bro. So that's what I'm saying, is, like, shift your focus away from that. And if you really want to learn about the topic, go out and don't expect it to come from Drake's writing on this new Iceman album, because I think if that's the case, you're in for a weird album, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also because, like, we can imagine, we don't know, we can imagine that he's been a product of that system, right? Like, if we're going to say from a general point of view that UMG has been involved in botting streams for their artists, well, he's one of their artists. Why wouldn't they use those same strategies for Drake, who is their biggest cash cow? So the logic doesn't really add up. All that to say, though, I'm more lost than I've ever been when it comes to this Iceman album, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing just because I feel like maybe everything that's led up to this point within the rollout will maybe amount to nothing. But it's a good thing in the sense that hopefully the album will hit like a complete surprise. And hopefully we are in for something that's fresh, that's new, that starts a new chapter, like I said earlier. But my question for you now is this: like, has he lost momentum with this rollout? Thinking about how much of a wait there's been in between these streams and how it's really felt like so many different times through this moment or these various moments and live streams that there's been like these pauses. How do you feel as a fan, like, with just the hype level of this?
I think there's going to be fans that are excited for it, and I think that there's going to be a good amount of people that are going to be like, listen, bro, just give me the music at this point. Like, let's get to it. This got dismissed by a judge. Like, obviously, the appeal is going to come through, but, like, how much longer then you have to go through this process just to get a fucking album?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to sell well regardless. It's his first album, like, full-blown solo studio album after the battle. And it's been 2 years. You think that's not going to carry momentum?
Mm-hmm.
It fucking will. So make sure when those people come into this album experience, it's a good experience. Because if it's not, then I think we're having even worse conversations at that point. And it's like, okay, fuck this. Like, it's not even about the lawsuit or what happened in 2024 or any of the things that happened in between. It's like, this guy needs to start making good fucking music.
It's about your artistry.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's what this comes down to is like, his artistry has been focused around this UMG case so fucking much at this point. Now you have no choice but to hit a different gear with your content matter. If this is the final set all and be all.
100%.
That's the way that I feel about this situation. It's an interesting one. He has to play his cards right here.
Yeah.
I think he does because a lot of fans, I think, will feel a certain type of way if he just goes in and he starts explaining to you how, like, there's fake streams. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I got articles, bro. Like, I could go into depth with this. There's official publications doing deep dives on this shit.
We're over it,
like,
bro. We're all over it.
Like, we know.
So many specific topics and themes of content have been repetitive. Even, like, how everybody snaked him, bro, and how many friends you've lost. I've heard at least 10 verses of you addressing this at this point. I get it. If that's where you're at, you want to express yourself, fine, bro. Just do it in a dope way. Make sure the music's dope and try not to be repetitive with it, bro. Like I said, I just think that he needs to try to move on from this and really create some
special
bangers,
music,
bro.
yeah.
Some special music, man. Again,
Make that blockbuster, bro. Fucking
Yeah.
do it. Make the blockbuster.
Fuck all this noise, bro. People don't want to hear it anymore.
It's just, it's not only that, but, like, I don't even think he wants to hear it anymore. Like, it's over, bro. Make a fucking blockbuster. I think that's the best way you could come out the gate is, bro.
Yeah.
Make something that's going to move the world again. You're Drizzy Drake. Like, you have that type of pull, bro. This guy makes a good fucking album. It's over. It's GG's. It's going to be played everywhere. It's over. We're talking, like, heavy hitters. And I think he has it with every single studio album. The past two have been lackluster, but I feel like it's a good opportunity for him. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you feel about this in the comment section. If you're a Drake fan, what has this done for the excitement and your sort of, like, hype level on this new Drake album?
And when do you think it's coming?
Sick prediction.
And let us know in the comments, too.
I think this is pushed to 2026.
I agree with you.
I think this is pushed to 2026. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I don't see how you could release this, like, right now.
I'm going to say spring of 2026.
And not only that, you release this right now, everyone's expecting it to be around this case.
Yeah. Because that's how he set it up.
But exactly,
what do you want to do?
But just let just move on.
Let the noise disappear, bro.
Yeah.
Let it disappear. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.